to refer the matter to future agenda, to an existing policy, or to a staff person with specific factual information. Claims against the board or employees as well as individual personnel and appeals are not appropriate for citizens forum. And I do have a quorum present. Thank you, Kathy. Consent agenda, minutes, April 10 and January, May. Good Lord, do we have this?
Yeah.
Minutes of April 10, January, and May 25 financial reports. January through May. Well, that's a lot. Did everybody have an opportunity to look at those?
Yes.
Anybody have any questions? Can I have a, yes?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes and the financials as presented.
Thank you.
A second.
Motion passes. All in favor? Sorry.
Aye.
Aye.
Forget that part. Nobody's opposed. They're all good. Board member reports and discussion. Smackover Lithium DLE project, and I'm hoping I'm saying this name right, Jim Funk, project director, Texas Standard Lithium Limited. Budget 2025-2026.
Not his budget. He will probably not gonna.
I'm actually funky.
Funky?
Yeah.
Really?
I am. All my life.
Wow. All right.
In the 70s?
Yeah, it started
It's a
long
song
before
about
that.
it.
Oh, okay. So this is two different items then, Smackover Lithium and the budget.
Yeah.
Two different items. Okay, Smackover budget. Board member reports and discussion, Smackover Lithium DLE project, Jim Funky, project director, Texas Standard Lithium Limited. That kind of cracks me up.
Okay, and also with me I have,
Does that work?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me? Okay. I have a pretty loud voice, and it's a small room anyway. So I'm going to try to talk without it. If anybody can't hear me, then please let me know. With me is also Scott Jolwa. Scott is our land manager, so he's working directly with the three leasing companies that we're working with in East Texas. And what I'd like to do is kind of walk you through how we've gotten to this point. And I've got some slides here. I'm going to go through them pretty quick just because to respect your time. I have a copy of this that I can send you. You have it? And you're welcome to, everybody's welcome to have it. So you can go ahead and go through that stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna go high level, and if anybody has any questions, let me know. We started in 2017 in Southwest Arkansas. And we started there by having the option for the lithium in the Smackover brine, and we worked out an agreement with a company called Tetra Technologies, who had those leases for the intent of developing bromine, which has been produced from the Smackover in Southwest Arkansas for 6 decades. So it's a proven technology of bringing up brine from the Smackover, running it through, extracting the bromine, and then back reinjection wells back into the same Smackover formation, protecting the integrity of the reservoir while at the same time kind of a water flood effect of pushing that brine towards the production wells. We started developing the technology at around the same time. In 2020, we put up a demonstration plant by a company called Lanxess. Lanxess has been, and their predecessors have been producing bromine since the 1960s. So after they extracted the bromine, the brine then went to our demonstration plant, where we have been perfecting the technology, DLE, direct lithium extraction, from Smackover brine. We're the only ones that have proven this technology. And one of the things that's key to it, along the way, we had a financial and technical partner in Kobe Industries. And what you're seeing there in that slide is one of the columns, and it is the size column that we will have in our first commercial operation in Southwest Arkansas. And what's key about that is what's key for this technology to work. Koch Industries has demonstrated and guaranteed that we will have at least 95% extraction of lithium in that part of the process, which is the key part of it. The main difference is in that first plant there are likely to be hundreds of these columns, but the technology has been proven. So this is a picture, the middle one, of the demonstration plant. It's not a lab scale. This is 3 stories tall, 100 feet by 100 feet, and we continue to run the operation. None of what we produce is sold. We haven't been able to do that just because it is a demonstration plant. And up until 2 weeks ago, we weren't allowed to. I don't know if we are allowed to now, but AOGC, the Arkansas Oil and Gas Commission, has approved the first unit that will have 20,000 acres, Southwest Arkansas, and the royalty that we'll be paying to the owners of the mineral brine. The big difference in Texas and Arkansas. In Arkansas, the AOGC determines what the royalty is. State of Texas, it's between the company and the mineral owner. Any questions on that? I went over that pretty quick.
What's the royalty in Arkansas?
It's 2.5%. Yes. So this is a cartoon of what we will be doing. There are going to be 20 production wells, 20 reinjection wells. The Smackover formation, it's really it's basically rocks with some pores in them. Other than the concentration of lithium, the other thing that's really important is the permeability and the porosity of the rocks and the depth of the pay zone there that's going to allow us to be able to operate this plant for 20 to 30 years. The same precaution that goes into drilling oil and gas wells governed by the Railroad Commission will be utilized in this operation. We kind of just digress here. In the 2023 legislative session, we went to we had a bill passed sponsored by Senator Hughes and the guy in the House, but it basically allowed for or covered the reinjection into the same formation. A lot of wells have been drilled in Texas, but there hasn't been any operation where brine is injected into the same formation that it came from. So that was passed, and then in January of this year, the rules that have all the detail on this were adopted by the Railroad Commission. The next step in this process is that it has to go to the EPA to sign off on it. My understanding is that it's basically a formality, and with this administration, we expect that that's going to be the case. I believe it's sometime in August that will go to the EPA. So in this operation, 20,000 acres in Southwest Arkansas is approximately what it's going to be. We will produce in that acreage approximately 22,000 tons a year. And how do we determine that? We have drilled many wells. We've had a lot of geologists look at the geology there and just what we're able to produce or pump up in brine and the volume or the lithium to brine OGC approving the royalty, we can go to these next steps. We expect a final investment decision in Southwest Arkansas by the end of the year. Construction starts early in 2026. It's about a two-year process. Drill the well, run the pipeline, and build the plant. Right now, we're doing all of the kind of the pre-work of right-of-ways for pipelines and those kind of things. So the reason I wanted to go over this is that we will have a commercial operation in 2 years. In East Texas, we started the process of leasing in about 4 years ago. And we are currently now working on approximately 150,000 acres in 5 counties. We have 2 what I'm going to call are promising project areas. One is in Titus, Franklin. The other is in Franklin, Hopkins. They are 25 to 30,000 acres each. Each of them will be its own project and same as this. So there's not likely to be anything that's going to be common between the 2 of them other than who the company is, and that's back up. Smackover Lithium is a joint venture with Equinor and Standard Lithium. Equinor is the Norwegian state oil company. We had a joint venture with them back in May of 2024, and we've named the joint venture Smackover Lithium. So you'll not likely continue to see the name of Standard Lithium. It's going to be migrating now into Smackover Lithium. So in East Texas, we have drilled 3 test wells. So this is the early work that we have done in determining the lithium in the brine and some of the other characteristics with the porosity and permeability of the wells. This is a lot higher than what we have in Southwest Arkansas. Permeability and the porosity aren't quite as good in the early results. We still have to drill a lot more wells and do a lot more work to determine that. We expect the size of the unit for these 2 projects and future ones, same scale, 20 to 30,000 acres. Sometime later this year, we will complete some resource studies that we have done on what we expect the resource to be in these 2 project areas. We will Standard Lithium is a Canadian company. Our U.S. headquarters are in Austin, but part of the requirements of the Canadian organization on this is that we have to file this resource report. When we do that, it will show the areas that we have as projects. Once that is done, it'll start the clock ticking on when we will have a project in East Texas. This is pretty much just shows the supply demand for lithium, and it continues to be, there's not enough supply to meet the demand. Just kind of what's the other thing that's going on in this market is that the Chinese are currently producing all the lithium that we use in our country for military applications, for computers, for our phones, for batteries, and everything else. A lot of it is produced in South America or Australia. All of it goes to this is definitely a critical material for our country. To date, in Texas, we have invested in all the things I've described at least $50 million. This is all private money that we have done. And right now, we're a company without any revenue. So this is what we are, and we will be the first ones to commercially produce this. So there's some other information that's in the appendix here. I don't need to go over it unless you have questions. Maybe I could provide some of that. But any questions that anybody has?
Do you have a guess on when you will start operation in Texas?
It's probably gonna be 4 to 5 years. And so 2 years before that is when the construction will start. We expect it to take a similar amount of time. And there's a lot more work that needs to be done just to understand the geology. We've done some already, but there's a lot more that needs to be done to validate the resource. Not only validate it, but how do you get it out of the ground? This hasn't been done anywhere at this scale.
You guys,
Yeah. Quick question for you. So you mentioned China right now is producing basically or manufactures most of it. So when you're fully operational, approximately what percent will you be pulling back, or will the U.S. be pulling back? Or what can we produce in order to offset that high Chinese percentage?
So our first plant is gonna be about 20,000 tons a year. In conjunction with working with investors to raise the capital, we are working offtake agreements. So part of what we will, when we have that final investment decision, a big part of that is we will have offtake agreements with battery manufacturers, car companies, and other OEMs. It will all stay here. So not only will it be produced, but it will be into the final product and how it's used. I know I didn't quite answer exactly, but and the next plants I would expect in Texas are gonna be similar or larger volumes. The Arkansas is phase 1. We expect phase 2 is gonna be full volume. It's probably gonna be a couple of years after that. So if you look at 20 to 30,000 tons per plant, in East Texas right now, we have the 2 developing project areas I mentioned. We also have 3 others that aren't quite at the same level just because we started the leasing activity later in those areas. So that would be the potential.
And what's the longevity of a active well? How long are you drilling? Any ideas?
The data are that in Arkansas, some of those wells have been operating for 20 years. So I believe the expectation is that it will have similar type lives for the wells. But there are through the course of this, there is some additional over the life of a 20, 30-year plant. There may likely be some additional wells drilled.
so you said that you've dug 2 test wells in East Texas. Is that correct?
There's been 2. There's been 3.
3?
We're about ready to go into one of those test wells again for additional work.
Can you tell me where those test wells are?
Yeah, it's, one's right there on the Titus, Franklin County line. I can show you the map after the meeting if you'd like.
It's okay, I'm just curious.
Yeah, 2 in Franklin County, 1 in the Pine Forest area in Hopkins County.
Are y'all the only company here, or that will be here in East Texas doing this research and developing for lithium?
So there's a number of other companies out there right now, including that big oil and gas company that's headquartered down in the Houston area. So we expect that there will be others that are gonna be producing, but what we haven't seen is anybody that's demonstrated to date what we have. And what would I just show you? If you go on our website, you'll find this and a lot more information.
Out of curiosity, on your test wells, what have you found so far, I guess, or is it far enough along to have any idea of what you're looking at?
Not much more than the lithium in the brine, so the content. That's where we came up with that 800 parts per million. The next step will be to go in and get some additional information on the pressure and permeability, porosity kind of things.
So I've had another presentation about this, and I will tell you, so the explanation was they started in Arkansas and they started punching holes all the way down. And when they got to Franklin County, they figured out that this is, and I'll quote, the Permian Basin of lithium. And I'm just wondering, have you got far enough along to declare that this would be the Permian Basin of lithium?
Well, so the lithium level is as high as any other area in the U.S. that's been found. The other variables that are going to come into play is the porosity and permeability. Because it could be that it's twice the level that we've seen in Arkansas, but you may not be able to get it, pump it out at the same rate. So we just don't know. There's just a lot more work that needs to be done. But it's very promising work by the money we've spent and what we're looking to do, but there's a lot of unknowns.
So I'm assuming that you would probably do your plant, so to speak, I guess, if you started a plant where you have your punch wells at right now.
Not necessarily. Because there will be some additional wells throughout the area, the project area, and I would expect it's going to be enough that we've got a good representative of what's down there. But I mean, they could, but not necessarily.
Okay.
That's not a given.
So just out of curiosity as well, as far as your technology is concerned, approximately how much water does it require to pull to be able to operate the plant, I guess?
So how much brine?
Yeah, so yes.
So, and I'm just going to go with what we're doing in Arkansas because that's what we're planning is it's about 20,000 barrels per day. So it's huge per well.
Per well.
And there's going to be at least 20 wells, production wells. So it's huge volume. And one of the questions we've been asked as well, will you move brine from one of your project areas that it's not even feasible.
Yeah.
If you think about those volumes.
You said about 20 wells. That's roughly what one of these plants can accommodate.
So the Arkansas phase 1 is what we're calling it. That's what we're going to have for that. The production's going to be about 22,000 tons a year. So you kind of back into what each well is going to produce per year.
I mean, it's somewhat dependent on how much flow or volume is coming from each of these wells.
Correct.
What the facility can handle.
Well,
the process.
And those things have all been factored in already. We've been able to do a lot of work with our demonstration plant just to get assurance and confidence on those. And we'll have pumps, submerged pumps in the production wells. So all of that's pretty much been it's been done for a long time. So that's probably one of the less risk areas that we have.
But I heard you say 20, so
20 wells, correct.
so roughly like this facility that you build here, roughly 20 wells might accommodate 20 wells. If you went to like 150 wells, it would require more facilities.
We would
to
probably
handle
build a
that volume.
facility for the wells.
Yeah.
Instead of,
You would what?
we would figure out how many wells we'd want, and our facility would be based off the amount
you'd have to build a bigger facility to have
Yeah,
more wells.
so if we drill
or not.
50 wells, we'll double the volumes, yeah.
Okay.
Do that, but as of right now, the two projects are looking pretty similar in size.
Okay.
So we assume it's gonna be around 20 production and 20 reinjection.
Oh, and I was
It's hard to
curious-
make, just, here's what we're gonna look like in Texas, because there's gonna be things different, and it's based on what I mentioned, we just don't know. And that's why we'll start doing that work, I would expect in the next year, to start validating more for the subsurface stuff.
And did I understand that you're gonna have a facility in Hopkins County too?
So we haven't determined where the plants will be. Like I said, Titus, Franklin, I think it's roughly 75% Titus, 25% Franklin for the one. Likely somewhere central in there, which just would make sense for where you put your wells. The other is, it's pretty much 50-50 Franklin, Hopkins, so.
But you said the operations would be separate,
Correct.
so it's not really feasible to, take stuff from the west side of Hopkins County, and bring it to a facility in Franklin County. What's the radius, like 15 miles or 10 miles?
So it's 20,000 acres. It's, yeah, I mean, so it's gonna be, they're gonna, the way that the wells are, we're planning them in Arkansas is that there will be
31 miles?
a line of production, a line of reinjection, production, reinjection, and the way that it works is the production, once the brine, the lithium depleted brine goes into the reinjection, it will have a water flow effect of pushing it towards the production wells, and that's where we get the life of 20 years. Get a lot of data, because this has been done in Arkansas for decades.
And I think you already answered this, but I'm not sure I understood or heard properly. But the reinjection goes back into the same well, just minus
Into the same formation. So that it's gonna be the production and reinjection of different wells.
different
And-
well.
And they're far enough away because we don't want the reinjection to dilute.
And what is the
Production.
formation? If I have 100 acres and you extract here, and then you put it back into the formation, would that be 10 miles away? If you put it back into the formation, like what does that mean exactly?
They're probably about 2 miles apart in Arkansas, 2 to 3 miles apart in Arkansas.
Okay.
But it's all gonna be within the unit, so everyone who's in the unit will participate in this.
Everyone that's in a unit,
Yes, sir.
meaning like everyone that's signed a lease and is
Signed
a
a
part
lease.
of that is being serviced by that facility, that's the unit?
Correct.
Okay, so that's the formation.
The formation's just 11,000 feet underground. It's just smack over. Not a lot of oil and gas production in there in East Texas.
So if you have to have 20,000 contiguous acres leased, what I hear, right?
Well, it'll be a 20,000 acre area.
Yep.
We're not gonna have everything leased in there, it's just,
That's what I'm
it's
saying.
not practical.
No, it's not.
We'd like to.
It is 2.5% competitive with your competitors as far as that you're bringing, what you're offering your land, your mineral owner, that competitive rate in your business.
Those are between us and the mineral owner. I'd rather not get into that here. It's a reference point that now anybody can look at. What I suggest when you look at standard lithium, smack over lithium, to me the real question is, what's the viability of others? And what do they have? And I've gone out there and I don't see much. So we're definitely the first ones that.
Jim, what is the power needs and freshwater needs for the plant in Arkansas, the 20,000 acre plant?
Have we,
Have you calculated that or?
I'm sure we have.
It's the engineering
Okay.
done that. I wanna say it's anywhere from like 60 to 20 people.
Okay.
I think so, but don't quote me on that one.
Okay.
On the electricity?
Yeah.
Yeah, the number I've heard is 25, 26.
And then with the fresh water, it's very minimal. It's essentially once we extract the lithium, we use fresh water to wash it off the peat or whatever it's used to capture the lithium. So fresh water use is very, very little.
Okay.
But it will be used.
Yeah.
Jim, if you use Arkansas as a benchmark, what does staffing look like here once it's fully operational in this area?
So there is gonna be 100 to 120 permanent jobs. Operators that we will want to hire from the local community. And I've got some brochures, I don't have enough for everybody, I can get some more for you, but one of the things that we're doing in Arkansas is working with the local high schools, local junior colleges, state college, making sure that there's education for the operators. Not degrees needed, but computers, working on a, working behind the screen. Operate 724.
Specialists.
Railroad that wants to, these three counties, we try to locate a kind of a railroad.
To be determined. We haven't, there's gonna be some potential benefit, but we haven't gotten that far yet.
After you extract the brine, the lithium from the brine, what state is the lithium in? Is it a solid? Is it a powder?
I believe it's a liquid, lithium hydroxide.
Okay.
And then from there, we refine it to lithium carbonate. And part of the reason for that is
But will the plant do all those steps, or will that be transported?
the plant will do all, we're doing that right now.
Okay, so once you get to the final state, and then you're gonna sell it to somebody else, how is that transported?
Trucks, probably.
It is regular
Ideally,
trucking?
rail, I would assume would be nice, but it's not absolutely. I believe in Arkansas, our plant's right on the rail system.
You know, from the battery producers, there's a lot proximate to this area. So that lends itself to trucks. A lot of that is.
We have some handrails.
And then I was just curious on the map where you had the blue vein, I guess from Arkansas down through Texas. Without having drilled test wells in all of that area, or maybe you have, what technology do you use to determine that? Is that based on oil wells in the
So,
past?
It's the geologists.
Mhm.
They speak a different language than me. But they look at faults and they look at a lot of other stuff, and that's what pointed them for us to be looking here. And the initial wells we drilled validated that.
I'm sure we spent hundreds of thousands, if not millions, on geological data and already existing wells in the area.
Right.
And just kind of
I figured you'd have some history based on oil wells, how much brine was produced in certain areas of those oil wells. Therefore, you'd start with that.
And our two geologists and geophysicists are Smackover specialists, so they're very well known in the world, have written books and RAs and everything.
And what's interesting, when we first started working with them, they said, all of our lives, we avoid water. Now we're looking for water, and so
Well, that
they're
was
all
another
from
question,
oil and
which
gas.
led to in the past for just oil and gas, would they take the brine without having extracted anything from it and inject it back?
Usually they find a saltwater disposal well somewhere and they'll truck it and put it whichever one they
So
should.
the brine will not be
In oil
released
and
back onto the land, just surface.
the brine water will not touch the surface. Ever.
It's literally within a day,
So
it's back down.
It's
Because it's a fast process. I mean, think of that 20,000 barrels a day. That's a lot, and that's 20 wells going through the same, meeting up and going through the same.
Well, not that it matters, but you got the wheels turning. If you inject the brine back into the formation, it'll have to be at a different level, would it not, or else you're diluting what you're about to pull back up and try to get lithium out of.
So that's why the production and rejection need to be far enough apart. So that we're not,
But I'm just
we're not
saying,
diluting it.
if you inject it into the same layer or whatever it's called, where, where you found it, would it not,
It'll
are
be
you?
far-
Over time, it obviously will get less and less concentrated, but they're far enough apart to where the lithium depleted brine pushes the lithium rich brine towards our production wells.
Okay.
But over time.
I mean, I know you've thought that out, I just was curious.
Okay, so if you have a extraction well here and a down pressure well here, and you've got a distance of about 2 miles, what about the landowners that don't lease in between the two wells in a straight line? What happens to them?
Well, we want to lease everybody. So if somebody chooses not to, we definitely will not have anything on their surface. But it'll be,
That's the point I'm trying to make is if you're between the two wells and you own property, there's a chance that lithium that rights that you own could be taken.
So there are,
That's
the railroad commission that does have spacing rules, so you cannot be within a half mile of this track. They do have exceptions, the 1 acre lot, they want to lease, not going to use it for well, because it's a project too, they don't want to stop that. But there are spacing rules, so you have to be a half mile away from either boundaries or anything on this track.
So you're not going underneath them?
No, that's, if you don't have 100% lease, you cannot have your bottom hole location be under that track. That would be trespassing because of the lease.
The bottom hole location, is that?
So you got bottom holes a couple miles apart. If you have property right in here, they've been slowly over 20 years with high pressure, they've removed the brine that's been extracted and lithium removed towards this well over here. Now, if you didn't lease your mineral rights, they're probably gonna take your lithium. That's what I think I'm hearing.
The rural capture is.
Real capture. Real capture says they're gonna take your lithium. That's what I want to.
That's where that's.
That's what I'm trying to make clear.
That's a
to
very interesting
people
question.
like me that
I wonder where that
need
myself.
advice.
Sorry.
Somebody that's not educated in lithium mining.
Oh, okay. So that is a possibility, which is why we're offering it. Wants you to be part of the community, wants you to get paid for it.
What was the name of that end hole? What did you call it?
Bottom hole.
Bottom hole?
So you have.
So that's where the hole stops.
Yeah. So that.
But
is
you
where-
can still go through underneath somebody's property and just not stop there?
He's talking about the vein that goes between him, the drop
Oh.
hole and his.
The lateral. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I start here, I drill all the way to you, but there's people in between us. You go underneath
the end of
those
the
people
straw,
that did
the end of the
this.
straw, we have to have 100%.
The end of the straw, got it.
Correct.
But you're going through the other people's.
But we're not
property.
producing that. We're
Okay.
just going through it. So you can get a subsurface easement, which is, we can't produce there, but we can give you a cash value in order to.
So I know, I've heard speculation of this sort of stuff before, and I'm sure you're gonna hear plenty of it, but I've already heard people saying, how do I know how do I know they didn't stop underneath my property? How do I know they're not taking every bit of it? And how do you know?
I would expect the railroad commission is gonna have all of the data, so we'll get the permits from the railroad commission, and then there's periodic, we have to report to them on.
So you
on
would
all
have
the
to
details.
report on yourself and report on your own criminality to have the.
No, I'm saying the data of what we're doing is gonna be with the railroad commission.
But
Isn't
the
isn't this
railroad
the same
commission
for
is gonna
oil?
know
Yeah.
Every point in which you
Same with
stop
oil.
So,
the straw on
I
these
mean,
sort of property.
It's the same,
We're gonna
yeah.
be in your community.
I'm not
For
speaking,
decades.
I don't mean to be derogatory, I'm just saying that's just gonna be something you're gonna hear like in every coffee shop,
huh?
you're gonna hear in every barbecue.
There's mud laws.
The main
you know,
office is in
there's things
Austin,
that
their
I think
demonstration
we're
plant is in
comfortable
Elwood,
or
Arkansas.
ended up, but you are right, how do you know we're not just swinging left and going into some area that, and I honestly don't know the answer to that, how it's.
Go ahead.
possible.
Here's the good news. Excuse me, the good news is, drill bits, they have sensors and lines that can tell you pretty accurately where you're running. And I would assume you guys would probably use that technology. I just want to see everybody get used a little bit, you know, because I asked
Yeah,
the
and
hard question earlier.
the other thing is, as this progresses to a project, we'll have a lot more information in making sure that we answer those type of questions to yours and others' satisfaction. I mean, this is the first time that we've gotten in front of anybody in Mount Vernon.
I just, yeah,
Do you currently have any leases established in Franklin County? And if so, how many acres are you looking?
We probably have at least 20,000 gross, at least.
If he can make it
Probably 17.
from this Ivy League think tank,
Absolutely.
he'll be okay at road
So you started seeking those leases and signing them?
Absolutely.
In probably 3.5 years.
And you agree, you're bouncing, trying to stay contiguous as
Correct.
close as possible. In that concentration, in Franklin
Man, I
County,
look at
all of
it,
those
if
leases.
you're forcing them to be anywhere in the area,
Actually, probably the easiest way to describe it,
whatever happens, it's like man
pretty
over
much
heaven.
not.
Absolutely. Free money.
And y'all probably all know who's got leases there. So we're on the other side, and that's how it's.
How long lease, not to get too far into leases, but
Pigs
how
get
far,
fat, hogs get
how's your
smaller.
lease structured?
I just wanna be a little pig,
15 years.
15
get
year,
fatter.
5-year signing bonus,
5 year.
and 2 options, and 2
I mean,
5-year
you
options.
know,
it's similar to
people
solar,
get,
but not as long.
Yeah, I know.
the technology fascinates me, but I'll let
Yeah, I
y'all.
need you to shut up over there.
What do you say?
Shut up.
What, asking questions or talking to him?
I'm more than happy for you to ask questions. I need you to quit conversing over here. You're distracting.
and then you also said that there are some other companies, I think you said one
I'm trying to get our NIL money
Houston
up.
area.
Excellent.
Excellent. Okay. So, any other companies that are trying to obtain these leases for lithium would also have to set up facilities also, or would they sell to you? Would they be able to tie in to your plant?
We know that some of them out there are just buying them to flip. Don't know the intentions of all.
Okay, so they're just, maybe they'll just get a hold of 40,000 acres and then that would be something marketable to you or another company that wanted to come in and build a plant.
When Exxon bought the 100,000 acres in southwest Arkansas from Saltworks, it was pretty much contiguous. And so for Exxon, it we looked at it and made sense. A lot of the companies out there now, it is all over the place. So to us, it doesn't look like they're planning on a project.
They're just
And
planning
they have
on
other
this-
intentions.
They're planning on this blowing up and they wanna, get away a little bit and
That's right. What we suggest somebody that's, been offered, quite frankly, a royalty that we would never, we don't see being able to have a project that we could justify.
what would that?
We suggest they're out there. We suggest do your due diligence and look to see what's behind it.
Hard to do.
Go on a website,
Yeah.
part of it is, we're pretty much an open book. We've been for the most part, very transparent. We're not saying exactly where those project areas are right now, other than general. And you see all of this on our website and a lot more. We've gone, look, there's nobody else that has anything close to that.
And you have decided on at least one location in Franklin County for a facility, right? No, you have not.
We have not.
But you own land.
We do not.
We do own some house.
Yeah, we don't have any real estate there's a lot of other things that need to happen first.
Are you guys affiliated with Geotrain?
Oh. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up because we've got to get into executive session.
Okay.
I'm gonna end it on a little bit lighter note. I don't know if it's lighter or not. I think I just found out that your headquarters is in Austin. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, I would have never authorized this meeting had I known that.
We also got an office in El Dorado.
Well, that's not any better necessarily, but
Austin,
yeah,
just like
Austin is, yeah.
The guy that
Any,
approved that is still on.
oh, good, so any chance of changing headquarters to someplace else?
Doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Lubbock's a really nice place. Just, throw that out at you.
Somewhere central
City
east
office
side.
space in Mount Vernon, Silver Springs, and Mount Pleasant.
Oh.
All my management, just if the buildings were so out of constant.
That's interesting. So you do have office space in Mount Vernon?
Not,
Or,
I'm trying to.
oh, okay.
Local office
Yeah.
up there, but still lose.
Yeah. And just one other side note, when you do get further along, this EDC owns land right on the railroad tracks out by Lowe's. So in the event that we would give you a great price for it, just so you know. Put that in the back of your
Along those
head.
lines, you have any influence of those? If you'd like to lease their minerals?
No.
we used to.
Yeah, we did. We did.
Do you guys own the minerals up in that track?
It's not a big enough track for you to worry about, but it's big enough for what you would need, I would think. But
You want every little bit.
yeah,
I'll look into it.
we'll talk later, I guess. Mr. Funky, yeah, go ahead. If you don't,
Questions or?
yeah, if you don't mind, pass out the cards.
The other thing is whenever there's new information that comes out, press releases and that, I will, I got an email list. If any of you would like to be on that, I can.
Be great.
You're on.
Yes, thanks, Jim. Appreciate it. And he's very good about that.
So we wanna kind of keep you up to date as we continue to make progress.
That's great. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much for coming out. No, we certainly appreciate it. Next time I see you, I'll find another place for your headquarters and see if I can't interest you in that.
Or is this gonna be, you said this.
We're fixing to go into
Yeah,
executive session
we
here
have to
in
go
just
in
a
the other
second.
room.
So if you would, just sit real quick and we're fixing to part ways. All right, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. I didn't catch your name, by the way.
Scott.
Scott, nice to
You
meet you.
can't pronounce his last name.
Well, I
Unless
got
you're
funk
Cajun.
wrong, so I'm certainly not going to try. I'm not going to try another one. So, all right, moving on. Budget. Since we're not discussing their budget, 2025, 2026.
We're going to put that off until July.
All right.
Okay.
All righty. At this time, we need the EDC board is going to move to executive session at 6:50. 6:50. Deliberating regarding real property pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.72, seeking the advice of pending litigation. So, we will part ways. Thank you, everybody, for showing up tonight. Thanks.
Economic or environmental areas. And they're the reasons for prices. So they're kind of historic.
Do we have to hide technology from China? It's pretty obvious what it is. Like
Our
drilling
technology?
oil.
With their technology?
Or the mining of it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much rock mining.
Okay.
and separation in some way. I am not that familiar with it. So.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, very interesting. I was reading some, but enough to confuse myself.
Yeah.
And okay. John Richmond. John. Thank you very much. Take care.
Yeah, and if you'd like to get on the list when I send updates, if you want to shoot me your email,
Okay.
I'll add it to you just as.
Okay. I will, and I'll get that. I'll get yours from Craig.
Oh, did you get a part?
No.
Oh. Craig has it too.
Okay. You all heading back to Austin tonight?
I live in Carrollton.
Okay.
And actually tomorrow morning I've got a meeting in Mount Pleasant.
Okay.
And I'm coming back here and I'm meeting with Mr. Hicks.
All right. BF, right?
Yeah, I haven't met him before, meeting with him and another attorney that are representing Carrollton. That's what I hear.
So you're driving back to Carrollton and then coming
No.
back?
I'm staying in Mount Pleasant. I got a 7 o'clock. There's a community meeting.
Right there.
Thank you. Yeah. So I was at their EDC meeting several months ago. There's called
Jim gave me a can the other day. I will take one for my son, though. I'll get Chase
every
one.
Friday.
Nice
They
can.
have kind of a social to one of the local businesses. Invited me to come. So I'm going to go.
That's Geo Frank.
We have just since the beginning of the year just started to become more visible on what we're doing because it's starting to be real.
Kim Riley.
Money, but I saw New
Yeah,
York
right
Stock
across from
Exchange
Lowe's.
Which, again, it's
on
kind
one of
of
your
been part
slides.
before.
Right. So we are on the Canadian Stock Exchange, and we're also on the
So it's this catch
What's the symbol? How do you
I'll
get
sign
it?
later.
SLI.
They can't produce
SLI.
until you sign.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care.
Sure will.
There's a lot of that.
Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brad.
Yeah. No, I appreciate y'all coming and sharing like you do. And of course, everybody's got